Hi, everybody. This is Dr. Ide here with some APA tips and tricks. I'm creating this video and a PowerPoint presentation to go along with it so you have all of the resources you need to be successful. Here we go. Today, we're going to be talking about what APA style is. We're going to be talking about how to make references. We're going to be talking about in-text citations and how to create your paper. So what is APA? APA stands for American Psychological Association 7th edition writing style. We use APA in healthcare. There are other writing styles like MLA and Chicago style, but we don't use those. We use APA. Basically, we use APA for uniformity and consistency so that everyone is writing the same way, and this makes it easier for our audiences to recognize that the information that we are giving to them has come from validated resources. At the bottom here of this slide is an excerpt from the APA style website, which I'll be showing you in just a little bit. When style works best, ideas flow logically, sources are credited appropriately, and papers are organized predictably and consistently. People are described using language that affirms their worth and their dignity. Authors plan for ethical compliance and report critical details of their research protocol to allow readers to evaluate findings and other researchers to potentially replicate the studies. Tables and figures present data in engaging, consistent manners. So is APA a manual? Is there an official website? Yes and yes. It is a book or manual listing all of the pre-established rules and regulations and how to write an APA paper, as well as how to cite and avoid plagiarism. The manual can be bought at any bookstore or online retailer if you want to, but APA has come out with an official website. This is a hyperlink. If you are also opening up or following along in the PowerPoint, please feel free to click this link now, apastyle.apa.org. It does contain all of the style and grammar guidelines and has easy navigation at the top of the page with drop-down options. If you're buying the book, it looks like this. What are references anyway? So references are sources of information used in academic work. They're inclusive of things like books, journal articles, newspapers, things like that. Nowadays, we include websites and YouTube videos and all sorts of additional media. What do they provide? What are the APA reference elements? So they provide information necessary for readers to identify and retrieve each work cited in the text. What are the APA reference elements? There's 4 basic elements to an APA reference. They're inclusive of author, date, article title, and source. Note that the source is normally a DOI or a URL. Here are some basic principles of your reference list. Again, author, who is responsible for the work, date, when was it published, title, what was it called, and source, where can you retrieve it. Again, APA and their APA style website goes into a lot of detail explaining each one of these elements. So for example, the author element, including the format of individual author names and of group author names. That means that the author can either be an individual person, more than one person, or an organization like the Centers for Disease Control or the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid. This is some additional information about the author element. Again, an individual, multiple people, a group, meaning institution, governmental agency, organization, etc., or a combination of people and groups. Here is the information on your date element. The date refers to the date of publication of the work. The date will look like one of these: the year only, the year, month, and day, the year and month, the year and season, or the range of dates. The title refers to the title of the work being cited. The title falls into a couple different categories, but really what it refers to is the article title. The source is either a DOI, like in a journal article, or a URL. I think in today's world, the URL is probably the most used as we are searching online. But if there is a DUI from a journal article, let's say you're in the National Library of Medicine, you do want to use that. In our APA website, we have reference examples. So the APA website is very easy to navigate. All you would do is click on Style and Grammar Guidelines, the drop down, you would see the drop down, and then you would hit References, and that's how you get to reference examples. To go there, you just click this link. It's located in the PowerPoint. It is hyperlinked, so you're able to click it and it'll go straight there. At the top of the page, it gives you different categories of references, either a textual work like a journal article, data and assessments, audio-visual like YouTube, or online media like websites. Here's an example. If you click on journal article, you'll see an example of how a journal article should be set up. They even tell you what your in-text citation should look like. Very easy to follow. This is an example of a web page on a website with a government agency group author. For example, the National Institutes of Health. In addition to that, they tell you what the in-text citation would look like if you're using a parenthetical citation or a narrative. We'll talk about that in just a moment. This is another category web page on a website with an organizational group author, like the World Health Organization. And finally, we have a web page on a website with an individual author. This shows just one author who wrote an article. And again, they give you the parenthetical citation and the narrative citation. The difference here is we are talking about individual authors credited on the web page, but used together. So what is APA style, or how do we get the APA style indent on references? So your reference list should look like this, right over here. You see the first line is left aligned, and the second line and third line and all of the subsequent lines after that are indented, okay? You're also going to notice that this is in alphabetical order. So when you're finished with your reference list, it should look something like this. So again, in APA style, the indent on references is a hanging indent, meaning that the first line of each reference is aligned left, while all the subsequent lines are indented 0.5 inches to the right. This is a standard setting in most word processors when selecting hanging as the indent style. It should look like this photo. Here's a tip. If you're a little bit confused with the indent or you're not used to using it, something that you can do is not indent it at all, and then highlight all of your references and hit Control T. This gives you that indent automatically. So how do I format the reference list? Again, you want to put your references on a clean page at the end of your document. Your title page and your reference page are always alone. It's just the title page, which is first, and last comes the reference page. You never have any additional paragraphs or content on those two pages. You put all of your references in alphabetical order. You can use the following symbol in Word once you have them all highlighted, and it does it for you. Under your Home tab in Word, it's the A to Z prompt. And here's the photo of that. Here's a regular Word document. I'm on my Home tab, and there's the A to Z button. And it just alphabetizes them for you. So what are in-text citations and why do they matter? In-text citations are representations of the resource the information is coming from that are included within the body of the text, including the author's last name and publication year. So essentially what they do is they tell you where that reference information was used in the context of your paper. This allows the readers to easily identify where the information came from and find the full source in the reference list. This comes directly from the APA style website. In scholarly writing, it is essential to acknowledge how others contributed to your work. By following the principles of proper citation, writers ensure that readers understand their contribution to the context of the existing literature, how they are building on, critically examining, and otherwise engaging the work that has come before. APA does provide these guidelines to help writers determine the appropriate level of citation and how to avoid plagiarism and self-plagiarism. We're going to be talking about plagiarism in a separate video. What are the elements of an in-text citation then? APA uses the author date citation system. And again, if you have this PowerPoint presentation, this is a hyperlink. It takes you directly to that page on the APA style website. The author date citation system is a system where we get to, again, showcase the reference that information in that paragraph came from by adding the author's last name and the year of publication. The in-text citation appears within the body of the paper or in the table, figure, footnote, etc., and briefly identifies the cited work by its author, again, author's last name or organizational name, and date of publication. How does this help you? This enables readers to locate the corresponding entry in the alphabetical reference list at the end of the paper. Here's an example of the author date system. And here is where it's located in the actual APA 7th edition manual, if you have that. Do you need the APA manual in its physicality? Technically, you could just use the website, but it's always helpful to have both. Now, there's two types of in-text citations. There is a parenthetical and a narrative. In the parenthetical citation, the author name and publication date appear in parentheses. In the narrative citation, the author name is incorporated into the text as part of the sentence, and the year follows in parentheses. So let's see that as an example. Here is an example of a parenthetical. Falsely balanced news coverage can distort the public's perception of expert consensus on an issue. You'll notice that there are parentheses around just the author's last name and the year of publication, and that the period comes after the parentheses. Alternatively, you could do a narrative in-text citation. Kohler, 2016 in parentheses, which is the year of publication, noted the dangers of falsely balanced news coverage. Do you see the difference there? The number of authors to include in in-text citations. Here's what happens when we have, for example, multiple authors. On the APA website, they have a great chart which shows you. So here's the author type: 1, 2, 3 or more, a group, in the first citation, in the subsequent citation, and the group author without abbreviation. So one author would just be in parenthetical, Luna, 2020 in parentheses. If you were going to do a narrative, it would be according to Luna, in parentheses 2020, and then you would go on with your sentence. When you have two authors, you have an ampersand in between them in the parenthetical, and in the narrative, you use the and, the actual word. Okay, so that's the difference there. If you have 3 or more, you use et al. In both. If you have a group author with abbreviation, in the first citation, you write out what that abbreviation means. So for example, National Institute of Mental Health. Then in brackets, you put NIMH, close the brackets, put the comma, put the year of publication. And in all the rest or subsequent citations, you just use the abbreviation because your audience already knows what you're referring to. And then group author without abbreviation, again, this is Stanford University. You would just write it out. And that's the parenthetical citation column and the narrative. In the notes section below this slide, of course, in the PowerPoint, you will find the direct URL to that page. Things to keep in mind with in-text citations. You need one in-text citation per reference. You need at least one in-text citation per paragraph of content, because we cannot say anything without showing that it came from a scholarly source, particularly when we are graduate students. If you're in an undergraduate program, you do want to get into the mode of researching appropriately, and that means that we never use the word I, no personal pronouns, and that even our conclusions are based on evidence-based practice. If you are using just one reference for a paragraph, only add the in-text citation once, either at the beginning in a narrative in-text citation or at the end in a parenthetical. If you are using a bulleted list, you must either have an in-text citation on each bullet or use a narrative in-text citation before the list that will cover the entire list. What about paper format? Consistency in the order, structure, and format of a paper allows readers to focus on a paper's content rather than its presentation. To format a paper in APA style, writers can typically use the default settings and automatic formatting tools of their word processing program or make minor adjustments. Use the template provided if you can. It helps a lot, and I'll show you that in just a moment. The guidelines for the paper format apply to both student assignments and manuscripts being submitted for publication to a journal. If you are using APA style to create another kind of work, like a website, conference poster, or PowerPoint presentation, you may need to format your work differently in order to optimize its presentation. Here are some paper format templates. These are direct links to those templates on the APA style website. If you have this PowerPoint presentation, please feel free to just click them and go there. If you don't have this PowerPoint presentation and you're just watching the video, please feel free to go to this website link. I have two of them up here. One is a template. Okay, you could delete out the stock information that comes in there and just add your own paragraphs and information. And the second one is a PDF of the template with annotations. That just means that it's in a PDF format and it has little notes on the side that tells you where and why things go where they go. Are there more paper templates? The answer to that is yes, yes, yes. There are a lot of different options for you. Here are the links to some of those options. So you have a literature review template, you have an annotated bibliography template, you have student templates, you have professional templates. They're all located on the apastyle.apa.org website under papers and paper templates. They're also hyperlinked, of course, in this PowerPoint presentation. Sample student paper templates by paper type include things like quantitative study, literature review, discussion post student paper template, design project student paper template, and again, annotated bibliography. Here are your paper format links. Again, these are all located on your apastyle.apa.org website. I also put them here for ease of access. So if you're watching this video and you have the PowerPoint, feel free to click on them straight from here. If you don't have the PowerPoint to accompany this, simply go to apastyle.apa.org, Style and Grammar Guidelines, and click on Paper Format. This seems like a lot. Is there a YouTube channel for this? The answer is yes. APA has an official APA Style YouTube channel with helpful videos. Here is the YouTube channel link. And here is a great video that the APA Style YouTube channel has released.
Have you ever felt daunted by the task of writing or reading an academic paper and have no idea where to start? You're not alone. You might be wondering, what's the point? Why do I have to worry about a bunch of rules when I'm writing? Or why does my instructor care so much about formatting? What if I told you there was a set of guidelines that you could follow to help you navigate papers with ease, write with clarity, precision, and inclusion, and prepare a paper your instructor will love? And it may just seem like another thing to keep track of on top of all the hours of work. But using APA style guidelines can actually save you time, help you better understand what you're reading, and ultimately help you say what you want with confidence. In this video, I'll explore what APA style is, why it's important, and how you can benefit from it. I will uncover some surprising insights about APA style that you probably haven't heard before. First, let's picture a world without APA style. Initially, you might feel a wave of relief, thinking you've shed the burdens of in-text citations, references, formatting, sentence structure, and word choice. But what if that was actually a bad thing? What if its absence actually made writing more difficult? Let me show you an example. Imagine there's a group of scientists who discovered a groundbreaking cure after years of research and trials. Naturally, they'd be eager to share their findings, not only to help people access a cure, but also demonstrate the credibility of their work. As they write their scientific research paper, they fill with complex information, bold new claims, and pages of research. Here's the problem. How will people be able to read and understand all this complicated information? Without a guide like APA style, it'd be nearly impossible. Think about it. Scientific data like tables and charts are already difficult to understand. Now imagine the format of these tables drastically change from paper to paper because there's no one style to follow. Readers like yourselves would stumble through confusing graphics, get lost in endless research, and potentially overlook essential information. If other scientists wanted to verify their research, how would they know where to look? Even if they did manage to find their sources on their own, how would they make sense of all the research behind them? How can readers be sure the research has not been plagiarized? Also, how would it even feel relevant if the language and data used are not designed in a way that includes everyone? Without APA style, the scientist's research paper would be confusing, inconsistent, unreliable, and did I already say confusing? To make their work accessible and understandable, they would need a set of universally recognized guidelines on how to present that information. And by using these standards, our scientists will make sure they clearly communicate their research to their audience. This way, the focus remains on the incredible cure that could save lives and not on deciphering the research data. If you can think of any other problems that would be created by the absence of APA style, go ahead and share those in the comments down below. So how does APA style actually benefit you? In most writing situations, using a set of consistent guidelines allows readers to focus on the ideas that they're reading and not get lost in the paper's confusing format. That way, they can quickly scan works for key points, findings, and sources. In fact, APA style can actually save you time. For example, using APA style will help you understand how a scientific article is structured and formatted. And knowing this will save you from needing to read the whole article to find the key information. You can just find the section you're looking for to quickly read the information you need. The introduction gives you the background and context of a topic. The methods section tells you how a study was conducted, the results tell you what the researchers found, and the discussion section tells you what the key takeaways are. And don't worry about your instructor finding out, they already know. That's actually how research articles are meant to be read. APA-style guidelines also provide a clear and easy-to-use way to cite sources to help you avoid plagiarism and give credit to the original author. Doing this will help readers validate the ideas they're presented. And think about it, if you're spending all your time reading something, don't you want to make sure it's true? And if someone published your thoughts in their paper, wouldn't you want them to give credit to you? Like I said before, it's important that we have a universal set of guidelines to present information. At the end of the day, APA style was created to make communication easier and not bog you down with a list of strict writing rules. It isn't about, or at least it shouldn't be about, a teacher holding a red pen, waiting to catch every little mistake you make in your formatting. The goal of APA style is simple. It's meant to help you and make writing easier. And I want to make sure this is very clear. The goal of APA style is meant to help you and make writing easier. Should I say it again? Real quick, before we move on, if you found any value so far in the video, go and smash the like button and hit subscribe. Like I said before, the goal of APA style is simple. It's meant to help people clearly communicate their ideas so that others can understand them. To achieve this, APA style focuses on three main ideas: clarity, precision, and inclusion. Clarity is about using language that people can understand. And isn't that the whole point of speaking in the first place? Next, precision is about using language that's effective and provides exact values, rather than vague words and ambiguity. Inclusion is about using language people use to describe themselves and treating people with dignity and respect. But why does APA style matter, and why should you choose it over other style guides? Simply put, APA style was specifically developed for writing about people. For example, when you're citing a source in your writing, APA style recommends you use the author's name and the date the work was published. This is important because now your readers know how recent the source is when they see the date. Providing your readers with this clarity will help them better understand what you're saying, and isn't that the whole goal? APA style is also used by diverse audiences. It's used by authors, researchers, editors, students, educators, in fields like psychology, nursing, business, education, public administration, and more. You should use APA style because it's one of the most widely used style guides by students and professionals. Now, where did APA style come from? APA style has been around for almost 100 years and was established in 1929 when a group of psychologists, anthropologists, and business managers sought to develop a simple and universal set of style guidelines to make reading scientific writing easier. So let's tell them thank you. And just like language and culture have changed since then, so is APA style. In fact, the latest updates can be found in the 7th editions of the Publication Manual, Concise Guide to APA Style, and Mastering APA Style Student Workbook, which can be found on the APA Style website. You can find links to all three of these in the video description. If you have any questions about APA Style or have ideas for future videos, go and leave a comment down below. Smash the like button, hit subscribe, and we'll see you in our next video.
Alrighty. So just to reiterate a little bit from that video, in APA style, we do paraphrase. We paraphrase. So that means that we don't use a whole lot of direct quotes. Actually, we really don't use direct quotes at all, unless it's from something like a speech. We do this because it's our job to take the harder information and break it down and make it easier for our audience to understand. I hope you enjoyed this presentation today. If you have any additional questions or if you need any additional assistance, please feel free to contact me as your instructor. If I'm not your instructor and you're watching this video on YouTube, please feel free to contact your library or your writing center. Have a great day. Happy writing, everybody. Thanks so much. This is Dr. I.